chuck it like Yuvraj Singh's bowling it, yeah. I really don't mind.
You hit me once, I hit you back.
He's bowling like my Auntie Annie when she'd had too much sherry to drink.
Played over my head, then I set fire.
मैंने कहा बेटा बेटा होता है और बाप बाप होता है.
As the whole world celebrates the end of the MSD era, let's look forward now to the next era of young cricketers on the block. The late Martin Crowe, he had the foresight to anoint Root, Kane, Virat, Steve Smith as the Fab Four as early as, I think, 2014. If you had to evaluate the current crop of youngsters in the game, who do you think has the potential right now to be ranked amongst the best batsmen in the next 5 years?
See, Kohli is not going for the next 5 years. Actually, these guys are not going anywhere for the next 5 years. So Kohli is not going, neither is Smith. Root will be there. Kane will still be playing. Babar Azam will join the gang. The only guy you would want to be inducted into this 5-5, Fab 6 is Rohit Sharma. The only question will be whether he'll last 5 years because Rohit is, of course, he's not on the right side of 30s. Plus, he's not one of the most supremely fit guys also on the block. So you would want to wait and watch how his career pans out. But and 5 years is a long time. Besides these 4-5, looking at a Shai Hope is, I think, is a fantastic player. He is brilliant. I like him a lot. Aiden Markram, I like Aiden Markram. He has what it takes. Oli Pope is another guy, a young cricketer but fairly talented and bats beautifully. So a lot of things have to fall in place for them to become the next generation of superstar batsmen. But that will find in good time, I think. Who else? When you're looking at Manas Labuschagne, of course, has already started making his mark. In New Zealand, is there a new young guy coming up? Can't think of anyone. So yeah, these 4-5 guys actually.
In 2011, you had predicted that Deepak Chahar, who was, I think, around 18 at that time, would go on to play for the Indian team, which he has done, and he's had tasted early success also in his career so far. Now, apart from, the Prithvi Shaws or the Shubman Gills who are the sexy names and are expected to, be part of the team going forward, are there any other domestic cricketers who you feel in India are poised to, take a pole position in the Indian team going forward?
Yashasvi Jaiswal. If I were to take one name, I'll say Yashasvi Jaiswal. If everything falls in place, because a lot of things have to. We actually undervalue the importance of luck because it does play a huge role in terms of when you get your opportunities, how many opportunities do you get when you are you're given the India cap to begin with, and who all are you playing against? What happens to the team at that point in time? Are they winning? Are they losing? Yashasvi Jaiswal, I would actually really believe that he's one guy who's going to make a huge mark. Could be actually maybe an early call, but he'll go further than, say, a Prithvi Shaw. Prithvi Shaw has already scored a century on his debut. He's very, very talented, and we've seen what he can do. But Yashasvi Jaiswal, if conditions remain perfect, and he's currently got a very stable head on his shoulders. If he stays that way, well, sky is the limit for this kid.
Do you think that Indian domestic cricket, in its present format, does it prepare players the best it can for them to take on the pressures or the challenges of international cricket, or are there few things that you would improve or change in domestic cricket in India right now?
See, there are too many teams at the first class level. 27, I thought, was a great number because even though people had their reservations about 27 also, because 27 is still huge in terms of total numbers as compared to, say, England. England still got 18. You've got Australia or South Africa, the two powerhouses, so to speak, but not too many teams. But when you're talking about 1.3 billion people, 27 was a decent number. So what they've done now, I think, is 38. So 38 is just too much. And 38 at first class level. See, first class 38 can happen. 1.3 billion people should be good enough to produce 38 first class teams. It's just that they're not ready yet. So first class circuit should only happen once you have under 16, under 19s, under 23s, all in place for at least 4, 5, 6 years, so that you have homegrown talent coming well prepared to play the Ranji Trophy. It's not happening at the moment. Sometimes we see them getting bowled out for like 45. No team should be getting bowled out at 45 in first class cricket on a regular basis. If it's happening, there is a problem. Good thing is that they're still in that lowest tier and they don't really go up and they stay there. But that it still dilutes the system a little bit. It dilutes the importance of runs and wickets a little bit. Unfortunate. So that is one thing that I would want to change, but it's not going to change. It's a Supreme Court verdict, so it's going to stay this way. So even if first class cricket, Ranji Trophy may or may not prepare you well, but what BCCI has done in the last 3-4 years is exceptional. It's the shadow tours, it's the India A tours, it's the under 19 tours. These kids have traveled so much that they don't feel going to Australia as like twice or thrice already. By the time you turn 23 and you're a decent player, you've toured Australia, South Africa, England, Sri Lanka. You've been everywhere and seen everything. So that's something that BCCI has done very well, and that's preparing the guys quite nicely. So the next generation that's coming to play will plays a role, yes. Plus just the know-how of conditions that come your way or you understand when you travel so much. So these kids are fairly well prepared.
Interesting. You talked about having too many teams. Do you think that there's a scope of sort of making grades in the first class arena? Think of football, for example. There's a grade level 1, and so on and so forth. So do you think that like Australia and England, we probably can have 15 or 18 level 1 sides? And each year there could be grading based on how they do. And obviously that will also incentivize teams to do better domestically. A, B also have the first league, which is, very competitive.
See, that's exactly what is happening right now. It's pretty much on the same lines. It's that the top teams, top tier and all of that. We used to have plate and we used to call it plate and something else. So there was plate and then there was a normal Ranji Trophy. So you have to qualify from plate group to the next group and all of that. That's how we won the Ranji Trophy for the first time. We were actually in the lower group and then we defeated everyone. We reached the quarterfinals and then we started playing the teams that qualified from the top 2 tiers. It is still the same way, but it's just that the only issue is for the 10, 12 teams that are there in the lowest ring, what they are doing is they are now poaching players. So they get players from, so they have some money to spend. So they get some quality talent from the top tier teams, and then everything gets diluted. Because when you look at first class cricket, the funny thing is, and we don't give enough credit to people who have not played for India. They actually do a huge service, a human service to Indian cricket. The Amol Majumdars, the Rashmi Ranjan Paridas of the world, they are Mithun Manas, Rajat Bhatia. These guys made first class cricket what it is. Because once they're there and you bowl into them, you can't get them out. So you will be tested and how. But now just consider this, that a Mithun Manas kind of player, so to speak, a Mithun Manas, a Rajat Bhatia, Amol Majumdar, or a Sridharan, Sriram, or whoever is not playing India, but their senior players are no longer with the senior teams. They're no longer with the right teams. They're not with Mumbai and with Harba and whatever. So they've all been poached and they're playing in the lowest rung. So who is actually playing for Mumbai and who's playing for Delhi and who's playing for Karnataka are actually under 25 kids, because the senior guys have been booted out. Either they've been booted out or there is a better offer waiting somewhere else and they've moved on. So in the end, it gets diluted and therefore you don't get tested enough. That's just my theory. That's what I feel. But then let's see how this theory gets tested over a period of time, because this is not going away. We do have groups, we do have grades. It's just that I feel that talent cannot be diluted so much across like 4 grades.
Interesting. So moving on to the national side, then you already talked about Rohit Sharma being on the wrong side of 30s and not supremely fit. Also, Virat will probably play another 4 or 5 years. But do you see after these 2 guys there is sort of a cliff for the Indian national team in terms of having great batsmen? Do you see that there's going to be a gulf, or do you think there is enough battery in the first class or in A side and so on to fill that gap if there is any?
I think we won't have that big an issue, to be honest. When you look at this current team, there is a Shreyas Iyer, very young, who's already made a mark. You've got a Shubman Gill who's waiting in the wings. You've got a Prithvi Shaw. There will be a Yashasvi Jaiswal sooner than later. So see, we all feel when we see great players that once Sachin Tendulkar was playing and when he goes away, will we have a similar kind of player? I think India won't have an issue. We will have enough players. We may or may not know about them at this point in time. Maybe Rishabh Pant is the next guy. We're talking about Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and there can never be another Mahendra Singh Dhoni. But then you will have somebody else, maybe a Rishabh Pant, maybe KL Rahul. Why not KL Rahul? Actually, I haven't mentioned his name even once so far. I should have already mentioned it about a dozen times, because he's one of the most skillful and talented players in the circuit at this point in time. So KL Rahul could actually easily take over the mantle, and he could be the next guy who's, in terms of just the skills, just the quality of batting when you see KL Rahul bat. I think he can put anybody to shame. And if him and Kohli are batting together, just shot for shot, just the skill, the purity of that shot, you'll find that KL Rahul is doing better. So you already have people who are there in the group who are equally good. It's just that they have not found their feet completely yet, but they will. They will in next 6 months, a year. They'll be there. 2 months time, KL Rahul could be leading India in all formats and scoring like bucket loads of runs, and could be one of the Fab Four for all we know. So KL Rahul is another guy I should have mentioned like a few times.
Right. So talking about then Shubman Gill and Prithvi Shaw, do you think that Prithvi Shaw got a little too many, or was sort of lucky to get so many chances compared to Shubman Gill? How he's already played more and is scoring and talent-wise, you said Shubman Gill first after Prithvi Shaw. So how do you see the battle between the two going into the Indian side?
See, when you talk about Prithvi, you understand why he got so many chances, and he will. He's that kind of a player. He was an opener. There was an opening at the opening slot. It's also a lot about, so when you're trying to break into a test side like this current Indian test side, middle order is packed. There is a guy who scored a century in his last test match. That's Hanuma Vihari. Hasn't played a test match since then. It's been over a year now. He played in West Indies, scored a century. Since then, he's not played a single test match, because India just cannot accommodate another batsman when they're playing at home. They want to play 5 bowlers. That means, thank you very much, Vihari, we can't find a place for you. So there was no place in the middle order for Shubman Gill to come and grab his chance. So there was no chance forthcoming. Prithvi Shaw, because openers had failed in England, India had to start a home series. We were looking at Australia. There is a guy who bats like Virender Sehwag, gives you glimpses of, reminds you of Virender Sehwag somewhat. And you want to give him an opportunity, and he scored a century in his first test match. So that's where I keep saying that luck plays a huge role. See, eventually in life, everything evens out. In life, not just in cricket. In life, everything will even out 9 out of 10 times that you'll get your due. But it's not necessary that it happens for every player all the time. Shubman, once again, Shubman didn't get enough opportunities in the IPL. Played for a side where the spot wasn't available. There was a Chris Lynn, there was a Robin Uthappa, both openers. What do you do? Can't come in. And then there was Sunil Narayan who wanted to open, or they wanted him to open. Shubman Gill doesn't get opportunities. But there is a Prithvi Shaw who plays for Delhi Capitals and say, okay, fine, you go play, man. We don't have an opener. So there are lots of things that
more circumstantial.
So it does happen. But Shubman, as and when he gets his opportunities, he's class. He's got something in him that's going for him in terms of his skill set and his temperament. I think he'll be fine.
So talking about the other young talent, Surya Kumar Yadav. So he's impressed everybody from his Mumbai IPL stint. Do you think he's late to already joining the Indian, at least the limited overs team? T20s to start with, maybe even ODIs?
It's getting tough for him. I like Sky. Sky is a wonderful guy. No longer young though, but and we have this a mental block, so to speak, or when you're looking at a guy who's 31, 32, 33 or whatever, and you say we still not played for India, so do we give him an opportunity now? Are we planning for the future? See, T20 is a good gig. If he has a good IPL once again, he will be pushing for his case now that Raina is no longer a part of that race. Raidu is no longer a part of that race. So when you're looking at only T20 specifically, don't go towards the one day cricket. So he might just come into the fray because there are two IPLs. There are two IPLs in like 8 months. So you've got two IPLs in 8 months and you happen to be the highest scorer in those two editions. You will put a very strong case forward for you to be included in a World Cup that's happening in India. So never say never for Surya Kumar. I think Surya Kumar still has a slightly a better chance of making it into the T20 squad. One day I don't see that happening very soon, to be honest. One day one day is also then the Shubman Gills and the rest. They'll once again be given a preference over someone like a field. Surya Kumar Yadav T20 cricket might still happen.
Okay.
Sure. So now moving on to India versus Australia. The last time we toured, we won the Test series, and Ravi Shastri hailed India's Test series victory down under as on par with World Cup wins, if not better. Uh, how do you see it?
It was phenomenal. It was exceptional. I've been to Australia once, and we managed to only draw the series. And it was the first side that went ahead and won a series in Australia. Beating on Australia in Australia is no mean feat. No team had done it till that point in time. But is it at par? If that's the question, is it at par with 1983 or 2011? No, not in my book. Because it is great. It's phenomenal. One of the high points of Indian Test history. But you also have to bear in mind that 1983, nobody gave India a chance. There was no reason for India to win that World Cup. With 75 and 79 going to West Indies, and you're meeting West Indies in the final. There's no reason why India should win that game or win the trophy. So that 1983 was super special. And since then we tried like 7 editions, 28 years. So 2011 World Cup, Sachin's career would have ended without having a World Cup win. So World Cup win is that big. So no, I won't put them together. I think it was a very significant moment in Indian Test history. One of the finest hours, one of the finest series that India has participated in Test match cricket. But World Cup wins, I think, are still, in my book personally, they'll still be rated a little higher.
Probably in our book as well. Coming to coaching, Akash, when we invite applications for India's coaching position, what should we be looking at? Should we look at the coaching certificates or the approval of the captain or international credentials? How do we look at it?
See, they're not inviting the applications anytime soon, so we don't have to worry about that part. But I get where you're coming from. So one major significant part of a coach's say KRA is to take Indian cricket forward. So I want to see his vision. What's his blueprint? How does he envisage the next 12 months, 18 months, 24 months for Team India? That's the senior team. And then how the whole development of that younger kids is happening, because that I think is an important part of the team growing and becoming a champion side over a period of time, and dominating side over a period of time, and not just a one-off series here and a trophy there. So that is one thing. I personally feel that coaching certificates are good. If you have them, you should have them, because then you're understanding the nitty-gritties of coaching and improving a player on the technical front. But you can always hire people. So if say I am the head coach and I have limited knowledge, I'll say, okay, fine, but I'm a great man manager. I can keep the team together. I have everything else. I've got a great vision. I've got these 5 things going in my favor. I don't have the degree, and I'm not the best coach. I'm not the best technical coach. I'll hire one. So there's no issue as such. So you can have a batting coach, you can have a bowling coach, you can have a fielding coach. So you got all those domain specialists working for you, as long as you're able to stitch everything together and make it work for Team India. So that is a very, very important aspect. Managing players, managing the dressing room, I think is a critical component of a team sport at the highest level. See, at under 16 level, only thing that you want is make them better cricketers. at the highest level, the questions change. So the question is that, okay, can you take the team together? Can you build a team together that wins a lot more? So can you convert a team that's good, but it's not winning enough, from a good team to a great team? It can only happen if they win enough. So do you have it in you to actually convert that good side into a great side that goes ahead and wins everywhere? I think that's the most important aspect of when you're going out and looking for a coach.
Fantastic. So now coming to the upcoming series, Smith and Warner are back, and Labuschagne is in top form, and we expect him to be so. Would it be natural to feel that India is going to face a tougher task this time, winning in Australia?
Without doubt. Now, okay, let's put it this way. If India were to win this series in Australia now, okay, it's at par with World Cup victories.
Okay, fantastic.
So if India goes ahead and defends its crown, if they retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy, even without a ball being bowled, I'll actually say it is at par with the 2011 World Cup victory. 1983 will still remain very, very special because I started playing cricket because of that. See, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have played. A whole generation of cricketers wouldn't have played. See, that's what World Cup victories do to you. Hundreds and thousands of kids actually start playing cricket. Test series wins don't do that. But beating Australia and Australia once and then twice, wow, I think nothing can get bigger than that. That will be phenomenal.
So probably this win this series would inspire another set of
Test
young Indians.
cricketers.
The next question is: are we going to see RS open in the test against Australia?
Yes, he should be opening against Australia in Test match cricket. He should. There is no reason. He should have gone to. If he was fit, he would have opened in New Zealand as well. So there is no reason. He is your first choice opener alongside Mayank Agarwal. Prithvi Shaw is next in line. KL Rahul is further away in line. But KL Rahul should be on that tour, by the way. He should be there as one of the opening options. But Rohit Sharma will start as an opener with Mayank Agarwal.
Sure. Sumer?
All right. So slight, shift onto the bowling now. We've seen the Indian fast bowlers at least, do very well, dominate a lot of series, in England, in Australia, of course. How do you see, however, the current crop of the Indian fast bowlers? How do you compare them with, you talked about Zahir earlier, or the other bigger names, Javagal Srinath, or maybe even Ashish Nehra? How do you compare, Bumrah and company with those guys?
See, man-to-man comparison, you will find that the greatest fast bowler that we have ever produced is Kapil Dev. To begin with, that's where the conversation starts, and then you've got Javagal Srinath, and then came Zahir Khan. Zahir Khan is the finest left-arm fast bowler that India has ever produced. Maybe just behind Kapil Dev in terms of the skills and what he's done, longevity and all of that. So maybe slightly ahead of Sri and slightly behind Kapil Paji. But the difference was that it's not that we've not produced enough quality fast bowlers. We've never produced them in a pack. This is a very unique position that Virat Kohli finds himself in. And some credit must go to him also for making sure that everybody has been put together or has been brought together. Ishant Sharma has become a better bowler in the last 2 years. Is the best that we have seen him bowl in terms of the length and the ball moving in the air. Mohammad Shami on his day is an absolute beast. You would love to have him in your side. Fantastic wrist position. Great biomechanics in terms of the ball release and all of that. Fairly rapid. So you've got him. You've got Jasprit Bumrah. I think Umesh Yadav. Okay, fine. Blows hot, blows cold, but then he is an option. Navdeep Saini is an option. So you're looking at, and Deepak Chahar will become an option. He's someone who can play Test cricket. It's not just he's one trick pony. So this is like a pack together is something that India didn't experience. So therefore, they've become like a force. So as a pack, this is the best pack that India has ever played.
I check it like you read Singh spelling it, yeah? I really don't mind.
You hit me once, I hit you back.
He's bowling like my Auntie Annie when she'd had too much sherry to drink.
Played over my head, then I set fire.
मैंने कहा बेटा बेटा होता है और बाप बाप होता है.